The Sodor Railway, Season 3, Episode 9, The Grumpy Engine. One day, Falcon was sadly sitting at Arsdale Station when Smudger came up. He knew exactly what Falcon was thinking about. Oh, why couldn't Proteus still be here? Thought Falcon. Oh, Falcon, said Smudger. He's gone and I know it's hard for you, but at least move on. You already know he's always going to be there for you, said Smudger. Proteus! Shouted Falcon. Falcon's shout for Proteus echoed around the railway. Smudger just rolled his eyes and steamed off. That night, Jason was coming to the Arsdale sheds. He had to take a goods train the next day. Jason pulled into the sheds next to Duke. Hello there, Duke, said Jason. Hello, said Duke. So I have been wondering for a while, said Jason. Go on, said Duke. Then they heard Falcon. Why does Smudger have to make fun of Proteus? Said Falcon. He's not making fun of Proteus, said Duke. He's simply trying to help, said Duke. Duke then quickly glared over to Jason. However, my question was, said Jason, why is Smudger so grumpy, said Stuart. Well, said Duke, this is why. You see, back long before you arrived and long before this railway had gotten rebuilt, he was the second number 2 of the railway. Our original number 2 had sadly had to leave the railway. He still does visit us every year, but back to the story. He was the second number 2 of the railway, and he was happy for that. He was just a kind engine, and really, he was never really reckless until the third number 2 came. They've both been the number 2. However, said Duke, this new number 2 was called Stanley. He was an American bull-twin locomotive, I'm pretty sure, and I know he was from America. His wheel configuration, he claims to be too narrow for our rails, so he was really reckless, but this is where Smudger becomes reckless. Smudger felt like his place was going to get taken as number 2, so what he tried to do was show off and prove that he was better than Stanley, leading to all these crashes. Back when Stanley first arrived, he tried to help Stanley, but after realising he couldn't, that's when he began to, well, you know, become reckless. Then when the railway got rebuilt, he had to take Stanley's trucks away because Stanley decided to test out my shed, see how comfy it was, and then go to sleep in it. However, when the railway got rebuilt, due to Smudger's now new, you could say, recklessness, he's put on goods duties and slow ones at that. He's sort of changed from being a reckless engine to a grumpy engine after that. He isn't as reckless anymore, but he does sometimes crash, and that is quite rare for him now, said Duke. If only Stanley was not the number 2, the events would have turned out very, very differently, said Duke. Oh dear, said Jason, so that's why Smudger is grumpy. Yes, said Duke, it's quite tragic. It's quite tragic if you think about it, said Duke. he just wanted to be the number 2, and then Stanley came, and Matt and Gordon Edwards decided to make him the number 2 as well. And after that, everything went downhill, said Duke. For Smudger, said Duke. Right, said Jason, but there's one question, said Jason. What is it, said Duke. Why was there 2 number 2s, said Jason. Gordon Edwards never explained. We just think that it was in case that we just went along with it, really. We never had a thought for what it actually was, said Duke. Yes, we just went along with it, said Stuart. I would have rathered having my number be taken by Stanley and Smudgers, said Falcon in sadness. Oh well, said Jason. We better get some sleep, he said. I have a good strain tomorrow, he said. I agree, said Duke. I have to take my picnic train as usual. I'm just glad there's not been weather conditions to stop it so far for the railways being open. Which is in its new look, which is about for a year, said Duke. Yeah, said Jason. All the engines went to sleep but Duke. He was thinking on how differently the events could have turned out if Smudger had never had Stanley to be the number 2. If only Stanley was not also the number 2, said Duke. Oh well, he said. And he peacefully went to sleep. Jason had collected his trucks and was waiting for the guard's whistle to blow when he saw Smudger pull up. Hello, Smudger, said Jason. Oh, hello, said Smudger. Can I ask you a question? Said Jason. Ah, okay, said Smudger. He was not in a good mood. Why are you a grumpy engine? Said Jason. Grumbled Smudger. He then hurries away. Jason was the guard's whistle nearly blew when Tim came by. You won't get any information out of him, said Tim as he steamed by. Huh, said Jason. The guard's whistle blew and he steamed away. Smudger was taking a rest in Duke's shed after taking his goods train. Then Stanley steamed by. He reached steam at Smudger, but he just rolled his eyes, and Stanley carried on with his journey. Smudger was just about to snooze off when suddenly 10 workmen came running at Smudger. Smudger, Stanley's derailed at Ulstead Road, and Duke is coming there because he's taking his picnic train. We need you to go and help him since you're the only engine available, they said. Oh, not Stanley, grumbled Smudger to himself. I'm coming, he said. He steamed out his shed, out Duke's shed, and on to the line. He was not happy, but he went to go and help Stanley anyway. But when he looked ahead, he was in shock. He never saw such a nasty crash. Stanley, what happened? He said. I don't know, said Stanley. It was all such of a sudden. Stanley's coupling was bent. His wheels were slightly flattened and bent as well. I don't know what happened. I just saw a flash of something, and then before I knew what it was, I derailed, said Stanley. Oh, mommy, best to get you back on the tracks, said Smudger. He hurries back to get a crane. It was dark by the time Smudger came to collect Stanley. He soon began to take him back to the shed. Thank you, Smudger, said Stanley. Oh, no problem, said Smudger. We work well as a team, he said. Agreed, said Stanley. I'm sorry if I angered you taking your number 2, said Stanley. It's okay, said Smudger. I think we might still be enemies though, because I'm still not happy that you're also the number 2, and I'm not happy that you're also the number 2, said Stanley. Yet Jason asked me why I was so grumpy earlier today, said Smudger. Oh, said Stanley. But I just grumbled and steamed off. I really think I should tell him, said Smudger. Why? Said Stanley. Because I think he really wants to know, said Smudger. Yeah, that's probably why, said Stanley. Anyways, let's get you to the shed, said Smudger. Yeah, said Stanley. And Smudger happily took Stanley to the sheds. Soon the 2 engines reached Arsdale Station, and Jason was there. Good job, Smudger, he said as he backed up to him. Thank you, said Smudger. There was a child on the platform with his mother. Mom, they said. What happened? They said. Well, said the mother. Smudger crashed and Stanley had to go and help him. What? Said Smudger. Stanley and Jason laughed. You see, Smudger's at the front here and Stanley's at the back there, said the mother. No, I'm at the back, said Smudger, and Stanley's at the front. Plus, I was the one who had to rescue him, said Smudger. Laughed the 2 engines. However, at the sheds, Stuart and Falcon has overheard. 3 cheers! 4 cheers! 4... What was it? Oh yeah, Smudger, said Falcon. And Stuart. Hip hip, said Falcon. Hooray, said Stuart. Hip hip, said Stuart. Hooray, said Falcon. Hip hip, said Stanley. Hooray, said Jason. Hip hip, said Jason. Hooray, said Stanley. Whoa, Smudger. This cheered up Smudger. I think Smudger and Stanley will still be enemies. But yet Smudger isn't always grumpy. He can sometimes be happy, even if he is most of the time a grumpy engine. Hello YouTube, Great RJ1 here. I just wanted to do a quick little announcement. I might take a break from YouTube for a little bit, for making videos at least, because it's sort of been a bit too much. Like usually I don't take breaks, but if I feel like I need to, I will. So I am going to take a break. I will be coming back soon. Plus, since I have to think of the stories for the episodes, I have to think about them, and if I can't think of the episode, then yeah, it's not going to turn out fully. But there was also a hint for the new villain, and that was the reason why Stanley actually derailed. I said there would be a hint. It's not really a hint, it's just like a sneak peek. But to be fair, it sort of was a little bit of a hint, so there is a little bit of a hint for the new villain. So, you will, but if you want a little secret for the episode, you know where Tim appeared? Albert was actually meant to be in his place. And he was not meant to be taking the train, he was just meant to be in his place. So, yeah. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.